Good day, everyone. Welcome to the first lecture of research, which is entitled Introduction and Data Research for Inward Format of Research. I am Dr. Nico Lawrence Pilosin, the course instructor of this class. The objectives of the studies include the following. At the end of this lecture, the students should be able to draft an outline for the introduction section of the research paper, select good literature source to enhance the drafted outline, supply the drafted outline with complete main idea and with supporting details, lifted, organized, and synthesized from the idea of original authors to form a paragraph possessing unity and coherence of ideas, and clarify the main and specific objectives of the study and introduce the significance of the study when the results or the data of the study are published. So IMRAD format stands for the acronym I for introduction, M for methodology, R for results, A for end, and D for discussion. In this section, we'll talk about the first part of the research paper, which is introduction. Introduction part of a thesis or dissertation plays an important role in presenting the fundamental ideas of the study. So uh, the vital role of introduction, it serves as the first part of the paper that commonly read by the readers, and it serves as the appetizer of the study. So you have to be good in writing the introduction because effective introduction encourages the reader to sustain its attention and enthusiasm in reading the paper. So if your introduction is written well, you will be able to capture the interest of your readers. In writing the introduction, this inverted pyramid is always uh, the procedure that I always adhere to. So for example, the first part, you have here the defining the system. The second one, you have the assessing the current situation. The third is analyzing the causes of the situation. And the fourth is stating the purpose of the study. In defining the system, you can work on the following. In your strategic intervention material, you can focus on the context of the K-12 curriculum, its history, components, and or goals, how the curriculum was planned and organized, what are the present standards or measurement or assessment to define the system, what are the best practices that you are utilizing to deliver its effective and or attain its primary goals. While in the assessing the current situation, you may present the baseline data that you gathered as pieces of evidence to describe the current situation. The thorough analysis of these pieces of evidence is necessary for you to provide data-driven assessment while your intended intervention shall be pursued. You may also start discussing the present condition or current situation that impede or somehow affect the system. So you can direct your reader why research or research study must be done in order to refine the present theories and calibrate your teaching practices. In analyzing the cause, you may state or share the root cause and the effect of the current situation to the system. You may also explore what were the previous interventions that were done and what were the effects of that. At the last part of the introduction, you can now state the main objective, specific objective, and the significance of the results once the data become published. Now, in writing your introduction, it's just like writing an outline that were taught when you were in a grade school. So it's like you're stating here the main idea, And each main idea, there are supporting details. So for example, the main idea is coming from the author's stand or the way how he or she understand the present system or present approaches or present condition of the teaching and learning process. So there are two styles that you can do. The first style is you state the author stand, and then the stand is supported by the supporting details. Or the second approach is that you read the supporting details and you generate your main idea. It could be that way. So basically, in terms of the structures, you can see that a paragraph shall be consisted of at least 5 sentences to ensure the clarity of thoughts. So one sentence for the main idea and at least 4 sentences for the supporting details. So structurally, if your introduction has these parts, it's easy for the reader to grasp your main points. And in some paper, their introduction somehow uh, it is composed of at least 6 to 8 comprehensive paragraphs. It becomes comprehensive because you can see the unity, clarity, and coherence of the way how the paragraphs are organized. You can see each paragraph are supported with several supporting details that strengthen its argument. So you can start with this kind of outline and then you support them with supporting detail. In writing introduction, many people are just writing what comes into their mind. But actually, that's a wrong practice. You have to outline first your idea. You have to do this kind of skeleton so that you're just filling in the information that you gather from your sources, and then you just combine them once you think the paragraph can stand alone. Okay, so it has to be outlined uh, using this format. The supporting detail must be accompanied with references, the author, and the year when it was published. In terms of the possible content of the introduction, you may talk about, aside from the inverted pyramid, that's actually the actual flow, but it's the possible content that you can place using the flow. So first, you can talk on some pieces of evidence. Why do you need to design your scene or strategic intervention material, like low conceptual understanding, or if the topic has high misconception, there is a reported data about low student engagement or low academic performance. It goes like that. And second, you address some teaching and learning gaps, kind of strategic intervention materials or SIMs would you design for your assigned topic? Will you use card game, board game, pickup stick, or modified snake and ladders? And the effects of the intervention materials on student performance. Based on what you have seen through literature, what are the effects or implication of this intervention material on students' performance? This is a classic example of how I write my introduction under the paper Taxocar Game in Promoting Concept Retention in Mastering Animal Classification. So you can see here the one that is highlighted in yellow is the main idea of the paragraph. The second one, the black one, is just the substantial statement for the main idea. Well, the green one, that is the first supporting detail reported by Santos et al. And the second one in the red is the second supporting detail. And the third one is in the violet font. So this is how I write my introduction. So structurally, I can say these were part of the initial outline. Okay, so easy for me. I only have three uh, reference for that. So don't be afraid to put colors on the text. But in the end, when you submit your paper, you just remove the color. I'm just doing this kind of style so I can appreciate this paragraph has already numerous number of references. Numerous yet substantial. Now, when you end your paragraphs, you may start with number one, state the general objective of the study, enumerate the specific objectives logically. So, for example, you are following a particular model, like ABI model, the way you state your objectives must be logical in terms of order. You may start with the development, and then validation, and then after is implementation. So there must be a logical sequence of stating your objectives. The objective itself reflect the flow of your study, the way how you will answer or address the given objectives. Number three, state the significance of the study to highlight the importance of the data or results to be gathered and how beneficial are they in the field of knowledge. So that will be the content of the last paragraph. It is very important to emphasize that last paragraph to direct your readers. This will be the outcome or the output of the study. Okay. Now, what are the importance of RRLS or review of related literature and studies? Number one, to gain better and in-depth understanding of the study focus. It is indeed good takeaways because you cannot write if you haven't read anything yet about the topic that you want to focus. So the more study that you have read, the more information that you can write or share in your introduction. Second one, by reading the recommendations of the previous study, you will be able to examine the gaps. What are the things that they have not that they haven't done yet? What will be the directions of my future studies if I am interested to their field? However, there are things that uh, were not yet done by their study. So by reading the recommendation, you will be able to identify what will be your future needs, what will be your future role after reading their recommendations. So when you write the recommendation, think of the people that might be reading your paper in the future. So they will be able to identify the things that you haven't done so they can continue it. That is the role of recommendations, not just for completion purposes. It determines what would be the possible gaps or dearth, dearth as in DEARTH. So that is there is a deficiency in terms of the knowledge fund. That's why there is dearth in a particular field of knowledge. And the third one, to gain insights from previous studies, like the way how they present their data, the way how they process the implementation, and the techniques or the overall exposures, how they conduct the study. And these are the characteristics of RRLS or review of related literature and studies. Number one, it should be relevant. It should address particular needs of your learners. They must be functional or else it is not worth researching if it is not functional. Second one, recent or current. So RRL must be 5 years from the present year. Why 5 years? Because number one, there are problems that have been solved already. Maybe the 5 years that the issues that we are solving 5 years ago were already solved in this generation. Second one, we are after with the novelty of the topic that we would like to explore or novelty of the technology that we would like to contribute. And the third one, sufficient, not few, but not too many. That is why I always instruct my students to somehow outline their ideas. Okay. Now, what are the sources of RRNS? Literature, you could get them from book, professional journal, articles, newspaper, magazine, letters, interviews, poems, and biographies. While in studies, you can use peer-reviewed research journals, unpublished theses and dissertation, and government reports and others. The next one, there are several ways to write your uh, citation or the way you cite your authors in the text. So number one, how to write them. Read and evaluate the literature and studies to be included. So you check, you identify is this study relevant to my study? What are the important contribution of this study to my study? So you evaluate them. Second one, organize and paraphrase the content of the literature and studies. Do not just copy or lift directly the content of your related literature kasi it can be subjected to plagiarism. So use transition devices in composing the paragraph, like however, likewise, moreover, perhaps, are those words. So it can greatly help you how you write because you are properly transitioning sets of sentences that help the sentence to be more appealing, understandable, and relatable to other people. Recheck the content and make adjustments when necessary. Now, what are the mistakes to avoid in writing your literature review or an introduction? Number one, write one paragraph per source. As I have told you, there must be at least 5 paragraphs per 5 sentences per paragraph rather. Not analyzing the content. There are researchers or student researchers that are considering only RRL as pampakapal. That's wrong. You have to analyze first the content of the paper, and then you decide if this paragraph is worth including in the future studies. Number three, copy and pasting of paragraphs. Maybe the student already find the deadline somehow approaching, and then they just copy and paste the paragraph. That's wrong. It's not review. It's just lefty, plagiarizing. So it's important that we revise the paragraphs that we are reading. Lack of transition words. So commonly the sentences or the paragraphs become dull or boring somehow because the writer do not know how to utilize transition words. Like furthermore, moreover, additionally, it helps because you are able to add ideas parallel to what have you reported before. And lastly, inaccurate in-text citation. So in our case, I'd like you to remind the following that please italicize the name, the surname of the author, use APA format in text citation. Okay. Now, ways of citing the author. There are several ways to cite them. The classical one is according to write the author's name and year, and the paraphrase sentences that were captured by the author. Or you can also have author, year, and the content of the related literature, paraphrase. Or you can start with the statement that they have reported. You check it, diba? The content that they have uh, mentioned, you just rephrase them, then replace the author and the year. There are also cases when you are doing literature review that you find some sources that are really significant. However, they are not or they cannot be included, or you are having or you are thinking twice if you will include a particular uh, study or particular author because the study has been published more than 5 years ago. So you can also do secondary citation if the reference is a classical resource or belongs to classical resources. Like for example, the paper authored by De La Cruz 2014. So today is 2023. So it's somehow 9 years ago. So it's already out of the expected or out of the suggested literature. So the thing that you can do is you find a related study that's somehow related to what De La Cruz has mentioned in 2014. So for instance, you see the output or the paper of San Juan was just published this 2023. So you can do secondary citation. You can include them through combining their surname in parentheses, the surname of the author, comma, the year when it was published, semicolon, the author of the surname of the second author, and 2023. You just have to arrange them in chronological order. 2014, 2023. So that's what you call secondary citation. If in case the resource that you have chosen is somehow beyond the 5 years from the present time. Now, how to do literature search? Uh, Nowadays, as pandemic affected our ways of researching, there are lots of repository uh, sites where you can find different uh, sources. One of them is a Google Scholar. So one good thing about Google Scholar, they have a online identifier to identify the source of the research where they are indexed. So you can use Google Scholar. So Google Scholar looks like this. Okay. Later on, I'll be showing you how to practically use Google Scholar. So you can use your browser and go to Google Scholar. This is how it looks like. Okay, so I'll show you how to use it. So this is how you use Google Scholar. So first, we type some words that are related to your study. Like for example, I want to search on improving SDS teaching practice. SDS is Science, Technology, and Society. Okay, just enter. So these are the results. You can see there are lots of portable document file or PDF that studies the SDS teaching practice. So if your course instructor is somehow strict, he is only after with the data that are available 5 years ago. So you can use here custom range and then type 2023 minus 5 is 2018. So 2018 to 2023. So it will filter all the research that are published within your chosen period of time. So search. There, you'll be able to see some of the paper. Okay, that's how you choose or select. They are published within your prescribed time only. Okay. Second one, for example, we'll remove it now. And then we want to work on this keywords. Ruby STS teaching practice. Example, you want to search for a particular title or specific title of the research that you would like to work on or you would like to search about. You can use quotation mark with, within the words that you would like to search. Therefore, the Google Scholar will search definitely on the words that are within the quotation mark. Okay. Specifically, uh, it, I located the paper that I published, which is exactly the same as this. So I can just open it. So the article has been downloaded. Or if I will open it here, I will be redirected to this uh, site where I publish this paper. Okay, so you can see here some citation, or in the Google Scholar citation can also be found by clicking here the word cite, and then you will choose whatever format is the most applicable based on your publication. So in the Philippines, we are using APA format. So I just copy this, copy, and then paste it in your reference section under reference. Okay, and that's how you simply cite your paper. Another example, I want to study the exploring mental models in teaching cell biology, and cell and molecular biology. Okay, so you can search the study about uh, the related studies about mental models, cell and molecular biology. So, but what if you're only looking for the keywords about teaching cell molecular biology? So you can just put quotation mark. You'll see these are the words. These are the works or research work that actually talk about teaching cell and molecular biology. Okay. For example, I want to locate now the exact article that I published. Okay. I'll check. I'll try to search my name. Okay, here. So I can just, if I want to uh, cite this article, just click cite and choose it here, then copy and then paste it in the Microsoft Word under reference section. So that is how the Google Scholar can be utilized. So I hope you will be able to search your literature materials out of this search engine. You can maximize it. In terms of citation, I highly advise to use this mechanism of citation. With that, that's all for this day. Goodbye, everyone.